Hello, hello, wherever you are in the world. My name is Agnes van Rijn. I am the owner of Success on Your Own Term, where I am a life and business reinvention mentor, and I'm the founder of the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. Today, my privilege is to interview a guest that, very honestly, I don't know how to pronounce her first name. I will leave that up to her. But she's known as Dr. Stem, and that makes it much easier for me. And I will let her tell more about her first name. So Dr. Stem is a native of Zimbabwe, but she's been living in the United States for the past 30 years. Dr. Stem wears, obviously, multiple hats. She is a licensed psychotherapist, a passionate motivational speaker, a personal and professional development consultant, a soft skills trainer, a prolific author, and the host of the Dr. Stem TV show. A show that motivates, inspires, empowers, educates, and enriches the life of their audience. Dr. Stem has two main missions. One is to help women and youth boost the self-confidence to discover and cultivate their passions and lead stress-free lives. And the second one is to help employees boost the self-confidence they need to de-stress, be healthier, happier, and more productive. Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, Dr. Stem. How are you?
I am so good. Thank you so much. I know that name, everybody stumbles on it.
So
everyone.
Tell me.
So the full name is Stembile. So the I and the H are silent. It's pronounced
so in fact,
Stembile.
It's much easier than it looks like.
Exactly. So it's pronounced Stembile Mahlatini.
Yeah, now you're making it a little complicated.
But then, of course, to make it easier, a lot of people say, Mahlatini, so they say Malatini. And that's fine. I've been Malatini with the IHS silent as well. But thank you for inviting me to your show today.
You're very welcome. So you and I both are in a
Foreign.
group, in a foreign, but also in a group that has this mission to be wanting to make the world a better place. And so if we both are in that group, that obviously shows that we have a lot in common.
Yes.
And so I would love you to tell me more about you, what you do, and well, how you arrived as a native from Zimbabwe in the United States, why, and etc. So tell us and inspire us.
So since you mentioned the group, I'll start off by saying hi to every PCP member, especially our founder, Lee Daniels. I am originally from Zimbabwe, as you said, and I'm the firstborn of 7 children. I've been in the United States for 30 years. I came here for school. I wanted to get an education, get a computer degree, and go back to Zimbabwe so that I can have a good life and take care of my family. But God and the universe had other plans. I finished my 4-year degree and, I started wanting more out of education because it was just interesting to be in the classroom and learning. But one of the things that I knew for sure is that if I get the education, as much education as I can get, I can give back in the form of education when I'm enriching and empowering other people. So then I went, to do my master's degree and then went on to do my PhD, which now I graduated in 2007. But by that time, I knew exactly what I wanted to do and what my purpose is. You want to know what that is?
So that is first key, is knowing what your purpose is.
Yes.
In case I didn't believe that. And from there, determination, obviously.
Yeah. And being in a foreign country, which, earlier on we were talking about that, transition, it's not easy. And being a woman for one, and then having been in this country for the first time, it wasn't easy. So a lot of people ask, well, how did you do it? I literally worked as a nurse's aide. You were talking about having done a job too that you hadn't done. I came in and worked in the nursing home, and I was assistant. So what I did was I would work from 7 to 3 in the nursing home, and then I would go to school from 6 to 10 p.m. in the evening. And then at 10 p.m. I would go in a group home and work with residents in a group home, and then 6 o'clock take a shower and go back to the nursing home, go back to the school, and then go back to, and And now looking back, I'm going, how did I do that? Wasn't I tired?
Isn't it amazing, the capacity, the unknown capacities that we have when we are motivated? All of a sudden, everything becomes possible.
Yes.
Yeah, I've had the same when I transitioned from my fairly demanding job in the corporate world as the director of administration, and I started studying in parallel, and I was alone with my two kids, teenagers then, and again, I mean, the job itself only was already very demanding, and all of a sudden I managed to add an amount of time that I would not have thought possible. Obviously, it means that you choose to take out other things,
and that's and that's also the power in women, because then you work, with women, as you talk about the show, the woman who make things happen. It's that power that we also have, within us, that when we make our minds to say this is what we want, we're unstoppable. We can have that energy and some more. I always tell the women that I work with, whether it's through coaching or, as a motivational speaker, that one thing that you have to understand is nobody can stop a made up mind. When you make up your mind, it doesn't matter whether it's your man, it's a boss, it's your family, it's your children. Once you make up your mind that this is what I want and I'm going to do this with my life, you're unstoppable. You can do it.
So being unstoppable, yesterday I was at a conference where Elizabeth Gilbert was, and obviously the topic of fear came up. And we all know that fear is always there. So being unstoppable is one thing, but you do face fear at some point, one way or the other. So how do you address that?
And that's why I now, devised the program of building confidence, because then I realized that without knowing who you are and what you're capable of within yourself, just yourself, and to accept yourself and know that, what you see in the mirror, the person that you see in the mirror is okay. Because what makes us afraid is because we are trying to become who people want us to become. And when we do that now, of course it's scary, because we can't see the visual of the picture of who people say we should be or what they want us to do. But when you get to build, that self within, when we were younger, that's the self-esteem. And then as you grow older, you realize that it's way more than self-esteem. It's now believing in myself. It's now having the tools that it takes to take me to the next level. And that's what that is. Because then, to overcome fear, you just have to do the Nike way. You just have to do it.
Just do it, yeah.
Right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure when you started interviewing, it wasn't something easy when you started doing this TV and sitting there, which, now you look gorgeous and you're bringing the best out of the women that you interview. I'm sure it was scary, though.
Yeah, no, of course. And I mean, it was even so much scary that I used to do it as a radio show.
Yes.
And at some point I discovered that I had a real issue with visibility. I was afraid to be visible, and I decided that no, I should be visible. That's the only way to, bring my message out to the world as well, and to the world as well. And I just decided that I would move the radio show into a video show.
Yes.
And I'm a perfectionist, so the radio show used to, well, I told you earlier, but the radio show had a beautiful intro, there was beautiful music, etc. And from one day to the other, I just decided video, and I just pressed the button on Zoom, and I did it, and I still don't have an intro. I absolutely need to take care of that.
It came out twice today.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay because it feels good.
Yes.
And what I keep saying to my clients as well is that past that moment of fear, when you start taking action, the reality is that it becomes a normality, and then you have no reason to be afraid of it anymore.
That's true.
And you just do it again. It's just a new habit that you need to create, in fact.
You're right. You're right. And for me, I know you asked me as well, how I have been able to overcome my own fears. I'll tell you one thing that I did. The book that I first, wrote, and I'm sure you've seen this one, Beyond the Tears. Yeah. I wrote this. This is my personal life story. I wrote this because after having all those degrees and having all those trainings, something was still holding me back. Something was still in the way of me getting to the next level with my life. And I thought, what is it, that I need to work on? So that's when the coaches come in.
Yeah.
Where you talk to the coach. I'm a psychotherapist myself, and a lot of people say, well, do you also get into counseling? Of course, yes, I did. And if needed now, every now and then, I do have a therapist. I go and sit down and relax on the couch and talk to someone. But whilst I was talking to her, I realized that my dad, you said we're from Zimbabwe. My dad is a polygamist. He married 3 wives. My mom is the first wife. And what happened was, as children, most women will stay in a relationship for the children's sake.
Mm-hmm.
And as children, I didn't realize that we absorbed all the pain, the tears that we saw going, on with mom being in that situation, that she wasn't safe and she didn't want to be there anymore. And, love my dad. And, he made the choices that he had to make. But I wrote this book for me so that I could release what I had been carrying. From being in the environment, from knowing about the environment, and also now that I was an adult, I needed to free myself so I could fly and not have this baggage, as they call, So part of it is every woman needs to sit down and see what baggage that is in their life, to go through that surface and talk about their growing up, their upbringing, their beliefs, their values, because some of them at some point in your life will become limiting, as you know, that they don't serve us anymore. It's not that the values that we grew up or what we were taught is bad, no, but there comes a time in your life where it's no longer serving you, and you
Absolutely.
need to build in. Yes, you need to build in. So that was the number one way to deal with fear that I learned, on having to deal with the limiting beliefs and get to overcome those as I was working through them. And the book is clear on how I did it and some of the things that I had to let go.
Yeah, and there is a lot, and it's always coming back to peeling the onion, huh?
Yes.
So you have that layer that you've worked on, and you think, oh, great, I made progression, etc.
Right.
And you go on with your life, and all of a sudden you think, but I had solved that already, and then there's another layer, and you start, peeling that other layer. But one of the things that's interesting in what you're mentioning, and I think it's definitely important that the listeners hear that,
yes,
to have the capacity to ask for help, to say, I need help now. And yes, it is true. As you say, counselors need counselors, and coaches need coaches. And, exactly. But it is not showing your vulnerability, showing that you need others. That is not a bad thing. I think it's even a strength. It's absolutely a strength.
I think so. I think so, because when you give yourself life, I mean, I'm looking at myself and the progression that I have made in the last 10 years. And sometimes I still can't believe that I'm where I am now. And like we were talking before the show, I can believe the strength that I have within me to write 15 books by myself and then co-author 7 books with other people. Wow. Can you believe that?
No, I find it very hard to believe, but I know it's true.
And when I see them piled up and I see the books and I open up and I read and I go, wow, this is actually very profound. But I was writing as I was learning about myself and getting to know myself. I knew that there are other women out there that are questioning themselves, that are questioning their lives. Because at the end, we all want to know, did I do well in my life? Was I the best that I could be? Did I make the right decisions in my life? Did I do good by my family? For those that have children, I don't yet. Did I do well by them? And every woman goes through that. So then the confidence is knowing that no matter where you are, what it is that you gave it your all. And when you give it your all, you've done well.
Which is coming back to this notion of purpose. When you know why you do what you do, and I mean, it gives you this driving force.
Yes.
I personally love this motto that I've meanwhile made mine of Brendan Burchard. I very often talk about it. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Because at the end of the day, a positive answers to those 3 questions, that you can go away. You did what you had to do on this earth. and in this
So
life.
I'm gonna take a piece of paper because this is my first time hearing that and write it down.
It is.
And what?
So it's Brendan Burchard, and he says at the end of your life there is only the answer to three questions that matters: Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? And I love it. For me,
I love
it's
the
a
way
real,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
love the way that
simple
he
and
said.
so powerful, and it
Yes.
really gives a direction. Yeah, I love that. I often talk about it on the show. People,
Right.
I hope that people don't listen to every show because they will start thinking that I'm repeating myself.
Well, but then, that's what it is as well, because we have to be authentic. We
Yeah.
have to be real so that the people that are listening and that we work with can also be real with themselves. So we are an example. And, what I just did now, I always urge, anybody that is watching these shows, listening to shows, even my show, that there'll be one or two things that is said. Get your pen, your pencil, and write it down, because as you write it down, it's engraved in your mind, brain, heart, and it will matter.
Yeah,
At some
absolutely.
point. Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell me, in your journey, what is it that you found most difficult? What have you really struggled with?
I don't seem to be getting to where I want to go fast enough. And patience has been my lesson. And I have quotes all over, that remind me that patience is the key, that everything will unfold at the perfect exact time that it's supposed to unfold. It has not been easy. And as I go around, I work mostly with women and youth. As I go around and do seminars and do speaking engagements, and I know that's one thing that I also talk about to them on patience and waiting. You can do everything that you're supposed to be doing in preparation to where you're going. But at some point, you have to understand that everything will happen in its time, at the exact appointed time. That has been the most challenging. I have to own that I have been impatient.
I can definitely feel what you mean by that. There is an expression in French. If I translate it literally, it says something like you cannot go faster than the music.
Yes,
Which is,
that's very true.
the universe will tell you when
And
it's time. Yeah.
you're right. And now working with teenagers, the one thing that I always work with the parents, because parents want more for their children. They can see the future way ahead of where their children are, and it's also that learning to be patient with the way that they're growing up and understanding. Excuse me, the new environment that these teenagers are faced with today, and also finding ways to work with that. So that patience plays a lot in how they're going to raise them, because then you'll hear kids saying, what, they don't even understand me. They don't have the patience to even get the time to sit down and listen to me and let me say my piece. And that's what it is with the universe, with God. He says, wait a minute, you don't give me time to meditate and relax and hear me say my piece and guide you to where it is that you're supposed to be going and what it is that.
Yeah, and I think that as parents, maybe one mistake that we can make, and we mean it well, of course, is that we want to help our kids avoid all the pitfalls that we've been going through. But the reality is we can't. They have to experience it themselves. I really think that you can't protect your children, against everything that could be happening in the world, whatever good or bad that can be. I mean, it's I think.
Yeah, you're right. So as I worked with people in individual counseling, or I also do Skype, and telephonic coaching, services that I do. I've realized that, okay, if I'm working with 50 people and there are millions of parents that are around the world, how do they get to interact and get the information that I'm having with these parents that have managed to get in touch with me, or you, a coach, a mentor, and other coaches? So then I started writing books. And that's why, because a lot of people say, why do you write so much? Now I've stopped. I mean, I'm going to take a break. But I started writing, and I'll share with you real quick for the teenagers and the parents what I wrote. I was 47 and a half years old. I just turned 50 this year. And I wrote 47 and a half things that teenagers need to know about getting along with their parents. And what this book is, it's a conversation starter. So if you open up the page, and I just opened up, and it opened up on 29, key 29, and it says, don't try to fly solo all the time. From the time that you were born, your parents have been teaching you to make good decisions. By now, the investments should be paying off. You should be capable of making smart and good decisions about making most things. Just those 2 lines. I mean, there's a whole lot of other information. But just those 2 lines. If you want to have a conversation with your teenager or your parents and you open that part, we're talking about making good decisions. And we're talking about, what do you understand about making good decisions? And they can say, I don't know, nothing. Right? So, I mean, and then real quick, I also wrote one for the parents and says, 47 things of what to say to your teenager and how to say them. And this will now, be a teacher. It just opened up to being a teacher. Parents have no right to expect their teenagers to know how to conduct themselves, but they themselves can be the teacher at all times. So when that negative time comes and a kid is doing something that you as a parent don't understand, guess what? Yes, you have the right to discipline, but also take that opportunity to teach them, because you are a teacher and it becomes a teaching moment.
Yeah, it's a fascinating topic, and I think there's a lot to be said on that topic. I definitely, I'm very pleased with my kids, how they grew up, and I must say that comparatively to things that I can see, I've had fairly little problems with them. But retrospectively, there's a lot that I would have done different if I would have known then. Because they're 28 and 23 now, what I know today. Definitely, there's a lot that I would have done differently. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it's a shame we don't teach emotional intelligence at school.
Right? Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you know what? There's so much to learn, and life itself will give opportunities.
True.
For people to learn. So that's what I love about it. And that's why I encourage women to continuously, do some professional, personal development, read books, attend, classes, attend seminars, because the energy that you get when you're around other women or other people, I say that to men as well, it's unfathomable. Is that how you pronounce that word?
Oh, can you say that to me again? I probably don't know the answer. I've never heard of it.
I wouldn't even go there. I still have, you know how when people say, well, do you have anything that bothers you? I stumble along words, because English is a second language.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's
so there are certain words. Yeah, right. So there's certain words so it's unfathomable.
That one. Okay. Yeah, I know. I don't know how. I know what you mean, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Hopefully, we will get some messages from people telling us how to do it.
but the way that happened, and I say it again, the second time, it's a word that is embarrassing when you can't pronounce it, and people will look at this and go, well, why would she say a word that she doesn't know how to pronounce? That's being authentic. And that's where I'm trying to get, when I work with women, to get to that point where you stumble, you fall, and you say, you know what, I'm still okay. Absolutely. And I can get up, I can wipe my face, and I can go on and start a new life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and reinvent it. You can reinvent it at any point.
Tell me about it. I know everything about it.
Yeah, I know, because now that's what you do. You mentor and coach other women.
Well, I am a life and business reinvention mentor, but I have definitely reinvented my own life for the third time already. So
Yes.
I know that is absolutely possible, but it's coming back to what you were saying. Is you're clear about why you're doing it. When you have the
Yes.
determination that you become unstoppable, that you know where to ask for support, that you know that you don't have to be alone on that journey.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and I think that one thing that you and I probably have in common, that for me is really a key as well, is joy. Is
Yes.
joy, is happiness. Uh,
Yes.
in life, there will always be, you know, life will stand in the way. There will always be tons of reasons to think we should be unhappy, etc. But if you choose to look at everything that's working, it makes such a difference. And I know that the events that I've been recently going through, everyone sings, but how can you be so happy, so joyful? I said, because I am. Because I am.
You're right.
And
You're right.
I mean, it changes everything, and that gives you an energy, a power that you become unstoppable, exactly as you say.
I'll tell you one thing that this weekend I've had many guests on my TV show. And this last weekend, the guests that I had there, and I have to say something about him, Rodney Flowers. And I'm sure you did see, probably pictures on Facebook if you're on Facebook, and
Mm,
those people that will follow me. My job and my work on the Dr. STEM show is to motivate people, to inspire people, and empower them. And I try to bring in guests that have overcome something, that have written, books, that have lived a life like, everybody does, and then overcome some challenges that they have.
mm,
And Rodney just topped everybody that I have ever brought there. He's like 15 years old real quick. He was playing football and he got injured, on the football field, and he became a paraplegic. So he couldn't walk. And was, in a bed, and then got into a wheelchair, electric wheelchair, and then moved himself into, a regular wheelchair, and now he walks on stilts. But what happened is, when you meet him, the energy, the joy that he has, the confidence that he has, and the things that he has gone through with his family, I can't even give more props, to the parents
mm, mm,
and the church people and the people that surrounded him with that, because that's what you see. When you see him, you see a whole village. You see the people that were surrounding him, but the things that he's able to do, with the difficulties and the challenges that he still has to have, getting up, because his book is called Get Up, I
mm,
Can't,
mm.
I Will, I Did, and Here's How. To see him do that and get up just to sign your book, and stand there and balance himself so that he can just sign your book, so that you can have his
Mm.
signature in there. I say there's nothing else that we can make an excuse about wanting to do what we're going to, when you can walk, talk, do
Yeah.
everything, this, the daily skills that we do, that he's trying to work on an every day, and we have that. There's nothing else that can, get in the way, that we're not able to overcome.
It's funny because I've had exactly the same experience with my guest last week.
Yeah.
I have released on Monday an episode with Maja Kajajic, and she was 16, uh, got hit by a rocket in Bosnia.
Mm.
5 of her friends were killed. She lost her leg, and she's become a motivational speaker now. She
Yes.
is amazing. You should see the energy. You should see the sparkle, the light all around her.
Yes.
And again, there is this whole tribe of people around her, because it's
Yes.
taken her, I think, 10 years, or was it 15? 10 or 15 years, I don't remember exactly, to walk
Yes.
again.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
that's it.
mean, and now she plays polo, she plays tennis, she does, I mean, she's amazing. She is amazing. And now she is going, traveling the world, because she hopes that all the people that she has met on her journey, who have helped her, who are anonymous people everywhere, etc., that
Yes.
by her public speaking, they will end up hearing her saying thank you. It's amazing. So we've just had the same story.
And this is that's the
And it,
same thing because Rodney also wants to do it for his parents,
yeah,
for his
yeah,
mom,
yeah.
especially, and dad that were there to say thank you and the people that were around him. But I mean, just to be around him because then he's going to be part of the team that will be traveling around the world, also starting this 2016, we're going to be on stage together doing motivational, and powerful Unstoppable because we're bringing in Unstoppable so that everybody knows that the energy, the power and the heart that he has had, getting himself up so that he can start walking and teaching himself the things that every one of us, we have it within us. And one thing he said that was very poignant on the show was when people call us, he said something like, and I'm, without quoting him, he said, people say I'm disabled or we have a disability, but everybody in life have a disability. We all have a disability.
Oh, that is so
and that's
true.
very true.
It is
We
so
have
true.
a disability.
Yeah.
And to see him, and you can take that and, and hear our stories and the way that, I was just saying I worked 2-3 jobs and I did this here. And to say to yourself, what is my disability? What is it that is stopping me? Because that's what it is.
Absolutely.
It can just be a disability. It can be just an excuse. And if you put it in that context, it becomes that small. You can overcome it.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. That's what I love about meeting all those people on the show like that, and you apparently are sharing the same, is that these stories are so inspiring. And I must say that I am definitely not a writer. I do have a few people around me who keep saying that I should write a book because I have a book in me. Yes, I have it in me, but I don't feel like writing, not for the time being. But at least, sharing the stories so that people understand that they're not alone, and they're, so often when we're stuck in something and we believe that we're the only ones. But that's not true. The moment you open your mouth to say to tell something, you keep hearing others that have experienced the same. And it is.
So your first book is easy though, because
well, in theory, yes.
No, but then here's what I'm thinking, because if you take all the interviews that you have done and you take a moment to just record, how like our interview after today.
That's a good idea.
Of course, that's what I do. I bring out those ideas.
Yeah, it's funny. I never thought of that. Yeah, very good point. Very good point.
It's, because then you start talking to you record yourself now and you say, you know what, these are the things that came out, during this interview, and voila, you've got a chapter, that you interviewed me and you interviewed the next person. But real quick, the reason why I do the work that I do as well, I have followed Oprah for a long time doing the interviews that she does. And one thing that she said when she was retiring at 25, she said, I stayed on because I waited for people to say, I never thought about that. Or I never thought of it that way. Yeah. And I vowed 6 years ago, I say to myself, you know what, with the work that I'll be doing in everything that I do, when I hear someone saying, I never thought about it that way, I never thought about that, then I'm thanking God and the universe to say thank you.
Absolutely.
So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Stem, I'm becoming conscious of time, unfortunately. So before I forget, tell us where people can find you and who you work with.
I work mostly with women and youth. And as I said before, a lot of people ask why women and youth. You have to stay in one lane when you're driving. You cannot take and drive in 4-lane, if you get into a 4-lane or get into a 2-lane, you got to stay in one lane. So then when I work with women and youth, I'm staying in one lane because in my country, in my culture, the woman is makes the home. She makes the children that come out of there. People look at the woman to say, look at how her children turned out. They never look at the dad. So she molds, the children and the person that, every child becomes. And that's why I wanted to work with the two of them. That's my population.
Makes sense, yeah.
My website is www.drstemspeaks.com. So the people can go there and see all the programs that I have. I provide Skype coaching. I also do in-office coaching in Salem, Massachusetts, in the USA. I'm a motivational speaker. I travel all over the world speaking at seminars. We do conferences. And people can also watch my shows, The Dr. Stam Show, which is on YouTube. And you just type in The Dr. Stam Show, they'll be able to see it on there. I'm very big on Facebook. So the minute you go there, you're going to see, this smile. And what I try to do on Facebook is to post in information that hopefully will also, I call them dose of motivations, DOSE, a dose of motivation. Yeah. So every picture that I post there, every posting that I post there, it's meant to motivate someone, to inspire someone, to uplift someone wherever they are. So even if I don't see a like or I don't hear back from someone, I know somewhere, somehow, the people that were supposed to see those postings, those pictures, they saw them and their life were changed, or something in them was ignited because of that post.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is absolutely fabulous, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Stam, I've really enjoyed this. It was a pleasure, and I think that we should have more joyful people in life, and you and I are both on a mission to do something about it. And so for the listeners, the show will be, that's a funny part. I keep saying when the show will be released on the recording, but if they are listening to the recording, they already know when it has been released. And I keep forgetting that.
You just realized that too. That's
and I
awesome.
realize it again. So, okay. So, but that being said, if any listeners, if you too want to make your dream come true, or if you want to reinvent your life, you can come to my website, www.agnesvanrijn.com, ANYESVANRHIJN.com, and you can book yourself a complimentary reinvention consultation with me. Yes. Dr. Stam, thank you so much. And I really hope to see you, because if you're traveling the world, you will end up in London as well.
And you know what, you say that because then the next thing I was going to say that, you know what, I see you and myself on stage as well, speaking at some conference. Because with all the people that are listening to you, we need to put them in person where they can see you live. And that's, I mean, that's the ultimate. Absolutely. For every woman to be able to see you and say, you know what, thank you for that segment that changed my life. So I hope that we can be able to do that.
Oh, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much.
Goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.